Hey, it's Paris. You know, I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Walmart Business saves you time, money, and hassle, which means you can focus on what really matters. Like putting the money you save back into what you do, spending more time training your team, filling orders, and finding new clients. Anything and everything, right down to, oh, that's the one, choosing the best hold music. Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Hello and welcome back, Spacefarers, to episode 7 of the unofficial Intergalactic Heretic Prophet podcast. I am your host, Andrew Zink. Very excited to be back for this episode 7, which is going to be our Intergalactic August news roundup. So we are going to be covering all of the news that we found out and came out about Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet in the month of August 2025. So I'm really excited to be doing this. All in all, I'll just say right off the bat, it's not a ton, but what is there we will cover, and I will do a monthly news roundup every month from here on out until the game releases and until there's just more to talk about. Because this is all we got for right now. So we are going to start off with job news. So really, this is one of the biggest sources of news that we have, given that this game is still, I mean, we don't really know how early in development, but we know it's been worked on for a long time, but there's still not that much public about it. So finding out news about things about the game from job postings are really some of the most that can be done. So I'll just dive right in here. So, so apparently Naughty Dog hired someone to work on Intergalactic's physics in the game starting in February of 2025. So this person previously worked on game physics for the video game called The Finals and Grand Theft Auto 4. The Finals is a free-to-play combat-centered game. It's like a game show where you fight alongside teammates in a virtual arena. I haven't played it, but I researched it. So, yeah, and a part of me has thought, like, maybe I should do an episode about everybody who's known to be working on the game, just to, like, sum up who the creative talent is there. I'm not sure how certain employees might feel about having that sort of spotlight on them. I feel like if you're in a leadership role, then maybe you've signed up for a bit more of a public-facing outlook. But I don't know. As a podcaster, I'm still figuring out just how I want to approach situations like that, respect people's privacy and such. But so, that is one update. So now here's a couple of job listings that we got for the month of August. So I actually realized that one of the best ways to get this news is you can just go on LinkedIn and you can just find Naughty Dog and they just post their job listings there. So I'll just read off some of what that is for y'all. So Naughty Dog posted a new job listing in August for a senior gameplay animator that specializes in creatures. So I actually feel like that's really insightful and really cool. And we talked about this in, I think, our last episode, but, are creatures going to be present? We know there's robots in the games, but are they going to be robotic creatures like in the Horizon game series? When they say creatures, are they talking about just robots? And they're not like, robots based on creatures, but they're just robots in themselves, or are there actually going to be robots, robot creatures, and or actual organic creatures as well? And I'd be really curious to see what that is like. Which creatures they're talking about. Are they going to be kind of conventional creatures with 2 arms and 2 legs, or are they going to be something that is alien and far more different than what we've seen before? So we just don't know. But seeing this job posting, hey, it just makes me excited to talk about it and consider that. So I hope all of y'all find that interesting as well. All right, so moving on. In early August, Naughty Dog posted that they were hiring a gameplay capture artist. And I'll actually read the job posting and just the caption that they posted with it here. So the caption says, "Do you have an eye for cinematic gameplay and the determination to get that perfect run? Join us as a gameplay capture artist and help showcase our worlds through stunning shots and gameplay." And then, so the background photo for this post is Jordan facing down the big robot from the trailer. So obviously this is pretty cool because, I mean, if they're trying to capture gameplay, maybe there's going to be some sort of a gameplay release at some point before the end of 2025 or some point soon. That could be super cool. But again, we don't know anything definitive, but we know that they were posting a job for a gameplay capture artist. I hope they found someone. And hey, if they didn't and you're listening to this and you're a gameplay capture artist, apply, get in there and get us some cool gameplay for us to watch because we're all dying for it. So yeah, that's exciting to think about. I would love if there was some gameplay soon, and I'll have a note on that at the end of this episode. So. Moving on, there's only a couple other job postings that I got here for the month of August. So in mid-August, there was another post on LinkedIn that said they were hiring a UI technical designer. So here's the caption that was posted with it. "Join our team and work with art, design, and programming teams to bring UI elements to life. You'll be responsible for building, maintaining, and optimizing UI systems while solving complex UX challenges." And then the background photo for this post is Joel from The Last of Us. Looks to me like The Last of Us Part 2, but I don't know. Hey, if anyone checks this job posting out and is able to sleuth it out, tell me. I'd love to know. So yeah, I mean, hey, another posting for a UI technical designer. Just cool to see that they're hiring people, and this project is moving along. We are going to hear more about it, I think, at some point soon. So just cool to see all this. So then, yeah, the final job posting that I've got for this episode in the month of August. So in late August, which that's only, a couple weeks ago at this point, Naughty Dog posted on LinkedIn that they are hiring a senior technical artist. And the background photo is of Jordan looking out the cockpit of her spaceship there. So yeah, senior technical artist. That's pretty cool. And that actually is a good transition for us into the next section of this episode of this August news update, which is actually just artwork. Because there were a couple artwork updates that we got. So I just figured I'd throw them in here. So the first update is from someone named Raf Grassetti. So apparently this person was art director for God of War, and they're now art director at Naughty Dog. So on Raf Grassetti's Instagram story, he posted a picture of some artwork, and I guess it was from Naughty Dog's 40th anniversary exhibition. And we're gonna talk about the exhibition a little more in just a second. So it's a sketch, it's a drawing with color, and so it's like kind of several scenes from the first game trailer, all like put together in one drawing. So it shows Jordan like laying down sort of on a couch, sort of booth section of the ship, and just kind of hands behind her head, looking relaxed. And so, she's got a bunch of Macho Nacho fast food on a coffee table. She's holding a fry that she's about to pop into her mouth. And here's something I thought was really interesting, actually. So on the coffee table, is a book that I mentioned in the very first episode of this podcast that has the and symbol on it. You know, like if you're writing Jack and Daxter and you use that and symbol. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting because I noticed that book in the first trailer, but this piece of art really puts it front and center of the coffee table. So it's like you can't miss it. It just makes me wonder what this book is and why Jordan would have it, what it's about, why it's significant to her. You know, it's just really interesting. And we just don't know, but it's present there in this artwork. And then, yeah, again, the rest of this artwork is kind of just a combination of things you see in the first trailer, including like photos of the 5 aces, you know, a couple other notes pinned up on a bulletin board kind of behind where AJ's laying down. Jordan's laying down, and then AJ, that's the woman with the eye patch who Jordan takes a video call with. There's like AJ up on the wall, and other than that, there's not really that much else. You can tell that Jordan is kind of in like a smaller cabin sort of area, but yeah, so that's cool. I mean, hey, I love this, knowing that there's artwork out there. They're making stuff up, and they clearly have at least somewhat fleshed out world here. And like the presence of this book to me is an example of that. And we just don't know that much about what it is, but it's definitely there. So that's interesting to think about. And then, yeah, I only have one other note for artwork, which is, so Naughty Dog had this 40th anniversary exhibition, right? And I guess and here's the thing, like, I don't really know if this was for the public to attend. I don't think it was. I think it was like more of an employee special guest sort of exhibition, but they posted photos from it of like the whole studio together and everything. So one of the photos that they posted from it, and what kind of looks like, I don't know, like a main hall of the studio, but so there was a wall in this photo of the whole studio, like gathered together. It must have been like 100 people or something like that. And it's a wall that's totally dedicated to Intergalactic art. And in the photo, you can see there's a wall that's dedicated to The Last of Us art, Jack and Daxter art, and then Intergalactic art. And the art for Intergalactic was like the center wall. There was a center wall, and then there was a left wall and a right wall that had Jack and Daxter and The Last of Us. So just interesting to know that Naughty Dog has got, or Intergalactic has gotten this central placement for its art on this wall. Now, this wall was a little bit smaller than the other two walls, so there wasn't as much up on there, which again is also interesting. Might just give us an indication about the progress of the game. But you know, so I thought it was just cool to know that that's there. And I just can't imagine being in this studio and you get to walk past this wall and check out every day just, you know, what's being made and thought up. And what a cool place to work. What a cool job to have. And yeah, unfortunately, even if you zoom as close as you can, it's kind of hard to make out what any of the artwork is depicting on the wall. So we don't have any more than that. But that's part of my news update, y'all. Naughty Dog has a wall at their studio that has Intergalactic art on it. So exciting news. Yeah, so that wraps up the artwork you know, that we got from August out of that roundup. So at this point, I only have one other section of miscellaneous news I'm going to get to. But first, since there is not a whole lot of more news to discuss, I am going to send us through the teleporter to the mid-break of the show. Okay, and we're through the teleporter to the mid-break of the show. So firstly, we'll start with reviews. As far as I know, we have no new reviews, so that's pretty quick and easy. And yeah, next, I've just started incorporating, you know, a little listener's note into the mid-break here, which kind of just gives, I don't know, an update about what I'm seeing from people who are listening and just what interest in this podcast and kind of Intergalactic as a whole, in a way, has sort of been up to now. But yeah, you know, I have to say, I really have been kind of surprised that people are listening to this podcast. I mean, there's just so much of this podcast is speculative, and we're just trying to pull every last little piece of meaning that we can from just the tiniest bits of information. And listen, y'all, there's times I'm going on and I'm just wondering, like, I don't know, are there people out there who really care to just listen to a half hour of speculation? And turns out the answer is yes. So I just want to thank you all for listening. Really appreciate it. And I meant to put this episode out, I think, a little bit sooner than I did. It's about 1 week into September at this point of 2025. I'd like to get the news roundups out at like the very end of each month that they're covering. For anyone who doesn't know, I am the host of the Ghost of Tsushima Yotei Gamecast, and the Ghost of Yotei is releasing 3 weeks from now, worldwide, full release. So obviously I've been pretty busy, just putting out episodes and content ahead of the Ghost of Yotei release and covering Ghost of Tsushima. If any of y'all like those games, go give the Ghost of Tsushima Yotei Gamecast a listen. But I was really feeling the need to, give some love back to Intergalactic, so I'm excited to be doing that. So now we'll move on to the next two sections of our mid-break, which is just a little bit of Reddit chatter. What have we seen from the Intergalactic subreddit that we can just mention here, just to have a little bit of conversation, have a little bit of fun, talk about what the community is posted and talking about. So I found a post from Reddit user Presentation Dull 7707. So this user posts a close-up. It's a screenshot from the trailer. And I actually thought this was really interesting. This is actually kind of a little tidbit that I missed from the first episode of this podcast. I really think I didn't miss anything from the trailer, but there was one tiny thing. I didn't think you could make out the name. If you look really close, you can. So it's a screenshot of Stephen Chang's character's wanted poster on Jordan's bulletin board. And so it shows the poster, then there's a second photo in this post, and it's just Stephen Chang's character's face from the bulletin board. So if you look really, really close at the post, and you can make out the name of Stephen Chang's character, which is Asher Doc. Doc is kind of like a nickname. Asher Doc Essen Young is the name there. And you can make out the height, 5'10", and just like a couple of the details. I think I covered all those in that first episode of this podcast, but I feel like I couldn't make out the name when I looked at it. But yeah, so hey, that's cool. We got a name for Stephen Chang's character. Shout out Presentation Dull 7707. I actually left a comment in the Intergalactic subreddit on this post, shouting you out, telling you that I am including this in this podcast. So if you're listening, good job. Keep finding stuff. Hey, if you post it and post stuff I'll miss, I'll shout you out at the mid-break of the show. Okay, cool. So now just the last segment of our mid-break, which is one thing we're excited for, about this game. So one thing I'm excited for in Intergalactic, I'm really excited to learn about how the laws of space work in this universe. And this is like total sci-fi nerd stuff, right? But
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
There's rules about how space works in real life that we have that are rooted in science. And then there's, every sci-fi universe kind of has some of their own understanding of what you can do in space and, how it works. And so as an example, like, and here's the thing, I realize that in this game, we may not at all learn about the laws of space. We don't know if there's, and you see in the trailer, like Jordan flies down through space to Semperia, but after the ship crashes, we don't know if Jordan's ever going to leave Semperia and if we're ever going to see that and experience that in this game. But there could be sequels later on. And if there are, Naughty Dog would probably be thinking of what the laws of space in this universe are. So, as an example, is there going to be hyperspeed travel or, travel at the speed of light? Like obviously in Star Wars is one of the most famous ones where it's like, you jump to light speed and you can travel throughout the galaxy with it. Is that going to exist in this game? I would have to imagine that some form of traveling at the speed of light would exist in this universe. And again, it could be, for all we know, it could be another 8 or 9 years before we get an Intergalactic sequel. And if they don't tackle it in this game, that might be the next time that we would, get some information on it. So we may not learn it in this game, but it might be the next one. And then, like, as another example, would there be sound in space? Star Wars, one of the notoriously, inaccuracies in Star Wars around space is that there's sound. And sound does not carry in space in real life, but in Star Wars it does because, hey, it's cool for movies and media. So that's why it's there. Would that be there in Intergalactic? We don't know, but we will find out eventually. Hey, maybe Pet Shop Boys is gonna will play through space if you blast it out from maybe Jordan could blast out from the ship speakers into space and it'll carry. That'd be cool, right? So, all right, y'all. That is all we got for the mid-break of the show, and I will send us back through the teleporter to the rest of the show. Okay, and we're back now to wrap up episode 7 of the Intergalactic Heretic Prophet podcast, our August news roundup. So I only have one more thing I wanted to mention here for this August news roundup, and it was a post on 4chan. And so this actually ended up getting posted to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit on Reddit. And so it's just regarding a couple claims about Intergalactic. So before I say any of this, there was a post on 4chan that, and I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes, but it had some just claims about the story and like the direction of the story and what was going to happen. And then there were a lot of parts of this that got debunked kind of right away. So I didn't want to lend any like credence to things that might not be true in this case. And so I'm just going to say right away, this is a post on 4chan. There's no way to verify if this is true or not. And in this case, I feel like, some of the claims that they're making, it's mostly just about gameplay and various things. So I don't really have as much of a problem with voicing it here. And, we can just take it with a grain of salt, know that, we don't know if it's true or not. I mean, a lot of times, 4chan leaks can be 50-50. I mean, they can be right and they can be totally baseless and wrong. So, just want to get that disclaimer out of the way and just say, no matter what people say about the game before it comes out, I can't wait to play this game. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to really judge anything until I can play the game myself and just see how it is, although I think it's just going to be fantastic and I can't wait. So, all right, so we'll just dive into it to close out the episode here. So, yeah, I guess there was a post on 4chan, and it was basically saying that this game will feature open areas similar to, Naughty Dog's last video game, which was The Last of Us Part 2, as well as from the Dark Souls franchise. So I just have to say, I think this would be so exciting because I think one of the coolest parts, and everybody seems to agree about this that I know of, but one of the coolest parts of The Last of Us Part 2 was in Ellie's Day 1, where you're in downtown Seattle. And it's so cool where it's like, you have to retrieve the gas canister and find some gas to open up the Fedra gate to move on to hotel or Saravina base. And so when you get to this section, you've then you got a map, and there's then 5 or 6 different buildings that you can go into. There's the courthouse, there's the synagogue, there's Rustin's Coffee, there's the pet shop, there's just a bunch of different things. There's the bank, there's a bunch of different things you can find and ride around on the horse. And it was one of the first times it was really an open world area in The Last of Us, and you kind of never really got that again in The Last of Us Part 2, which is just a big shame because everybody loved it. So if there was more of that in this game, that would be, I think, so cool, and I just can't wait for that. Yeah, and so in terms of the combat, the post claims that it's really good and satisfying. It says that players are allowed to string combos together similar to God of War, and that the combat encounters can actually potentially be avoided by sneaking past enemies or negotiating with them through dialogue choices. So that is really, really cool. And apparently Jordan can talk to other characters with a dialogue wheel, but this post claims that those moments are sparse. So, hey, I think that's still really cool. I mean, and again, that would sound consistent with a lot of Naughty Dog's games, right? Where it's you can sneak or you can fight, but negotiating through dialogue choices, that is a lot different. And that would be so cool. Oh my God, I just can't wait for this. And even if those moments are sparse, it's I think it's awesome that Naughty Dog is just moving in a direction of just incorporating even just a couple smaller amounts of RPG elements in their games. I think that's really cool, and everybody sorts of you like that. And it increases replayability, right? It's you can go back and find something a little different than you might have done the first time. So that's cool. And again, these are all claims. We don't know if any of this will be true, but that's what is stated. So then it continues. Although there will be cutscenes in Intergalactic, the post also suggests that the players will be able to piece together the story by finding items, collecting journal entries, and exploring. So Naughty Dog has become known for its environmental storytelling, so this claim isn't too much of a stretch. I actually talked about this in the exploring episode, what is exploration going to be like, and are there going to be collectibles? I mean, what is exploring going to be like? What items are you going to be picking up? So that's all cool to consider. So continuing on, really not much is revealed about it graphically, but one tidbit basically claims that Intergalactic's lighting engine is really good and is just really, really insane. So that's interesting. And it says that the levels might change colors based on the planet's face. So what's really interesting about that is that actually makes sense, because we've seen that Semperia is 2 different colors. In the trailer, it starts as blue, but then as you zoom out from it, it turns red. So that makes sense, and that's something that could really end up being true. And that would be so cool if that was the case. And so finally, the last part of this 4chan claim, this leak, that I don't really know how much stock to put in, but it's there, so we're just talking about it with a grain of salt, mentioning that. It claims that Intergalactic is targeting a late 2026 release, and so as of now, there is no release window or date officially announced, one of the latest claims by Jason Schreier, who's known as just a well-known gaming reporter, so that wouldn't be released before 2027. But just interesting to know that that's what they're aiming for. And hey, I mean, late 2026, if that's what they're targeting, I mean, a year from right now, we might be looking at a release window. Something might be coming soon, so that could be pretty cool. And so that wraps up everything that was in this 4chan post about this. I will just say one more time, take all this with a grain of salt. On this podcast, we are not saying that any of this is fact. It is just a 4chan post. And unfortunately, I was having a hard time tracking down who was behind this post and what their credibility is. But given that there's a lot of us out here who are just excited for the game, and we just want to have something to talk about with it and enjoy it, I thought it was just some harmless fun to talk about it, as long as we're not spreading misinformation. So that is what it all was. And honestly, that wraps up our Intergalactic August news roundup. I wish there was more to talk about. If there was, I would, but there is not. So at some point soon, I will probably, we're definitely going to do a September news roundup at the end of September. And if I have, the time to do so, I will try and release another episode, about a different part of the game for us to talk about. And yeah, the last thing I want to mention is that there are totally unsubstantiated rumors that at these that Sony's September State of Play, there could be something about Intergalactic in that State of Play. This is where I'm going to go back to when they were hiring a gameplay capture artist. Oh, I would love and hope for there to be some gameplay or just anything in the September State of Play. And as all of you know, if there is something there, then we will cover it on this show. And hey, I'll break it down. I'll talk about all of it, depending on when. I'll look into when the State of Play is, and if it's close towards the end of the month, I'll throw it into the September news roundup. But hey, I'll take a little bit of hope that we might get something new. I'm really looking forward to this game. I can't wait to play it. So I hope y'all are enjoying. I know this content is a little sparse right now. I'm not releasing a ton of episodes because obviously there's just not a ton of content to talk about for this game. But, just trying to keep everyone who's interested up to date on what's going on. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. And if you are, leave us a 5-star review on the Apple podcast store or Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts. And hey, if you leave us reviews, I will read them out at the mid-break of the show. That would be super cool of you. You can reach out to us on Blue Sky, and you can also join the Robots Radio Discord channel, and the Discord server. And if you join the Discord server and you pop into the Intergalactic Discord channel, then we can talk there. And hey, we can hang out and we can talk about the game and just exchange thoughts about it. And there's other people in that channel who would probably answer with thoughts and hopes and dreams and everything too. You can also send us an email, and all those links are in the show notes for you to find. All right, so with that, we are going to wrap up. Just want to thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you soon.
That's the sound of the fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron and the quiet confidence of ultra-smooth handling. The elevated interior reminds you this is more than an EV. This is electric performance redefined.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.